Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you are here for episode 2 of our Cute as Can Be craft along. So, thank you so much for being here for episode 2. We are going to get started right away. We do have 3 projects that we're going to be doing. So, sit back, go grab something to eat, and come and craft along with me. We are going to get started. So again, we are focusing on the Meant to Be stamp set bundle. So here are the dies. You get all the hexagons and you get all the bee parts, and then we're going to be using the bee punch. Now this came out last year, but it is still current. So we are still going to use this. So we'll just move some of this stuff over and we will get to our first card, which I know you are absolutely going to love. So let's open that and get that all ready to go. All right, so let's grab our little bits and pieces here. Okay, so starting out with our cardstock, here's that beautiful designer paper. Absolutely love it. We have some Petunia Pop cardstock. We have one of the hexagons cut out. Now when you cut it out, when you die cut it, you end up with 2 pieces. So you get like a little framelit and then you get the label. And then we have some scrap paper that we're going to be stamping our bees on. So this piece here is going to be our card base. All right, I've already gone ahead and pre-cut out our designer paper, and I already scored it. So we're just going to fold this over. Now, when you're scoring designer paper, you don't want to score it really hard. You want to do just a light touch when you score it, because otherwise you're going to rip it. All right, so let's attach this to our card base. Isn't this paper really pretty? I love it. All right, so we are going to put that right here on our card. Let's see. We'll do it this way. So right here on the base. Just like that. So our card will open this way. And let's put this on the side because we're going to work on the other section of it. So again, I said we already cut out a piece of the Petunia Pop. So I'm going to show you a really neat way to make a label. So we're just going to fold this in half. Press that down. We want to get a good press. All right, now we're going to grab one of our dies and we're going to die cut, but we don't want 2 pieces. We want this to be able to fold, okay? So what we're going to do, let me grab my machine here. Take that first layer off. Okay. So we're going to kind of offset this die, all right? So when you flip it over, you're going to see part of the die hang off of the edge of the paper, all right? Because we don't want to cut it all the way through. So we'll just put this right here on our machine. Oop. Stay right there. Let's push this through and you'll see what I'm talking about. Oop. Move that out of the way. Now it's 2 papers going through, so it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit. There we go. So let's see. All right, so here's that framelit. We don't need that. What we want, oh, nuts. It broke in 2, but that is okay. We're gonna work with it. I don't know how they did that. All right, well that could have went better. don't know how that did that. You know what? I bet it slid as I put it through. I bet you that's what happened. All right. So we are going to make do. Let's grab a piece of basic white cardstock and let's try that again. I don't know how that happened. Good night. You gotta love it. All right. So what we're going to do, let's try this again because we don't want it to cut all the way through. All right, let's trim this out just a bit here because I want it to go through our machine. Well, this is my last ditch effort. Gotta love it. All right, let's try it again. But we will make this work, I promise. I promise, I promise, I promise. Yeah, that first run could have went a little better. You know, I bet what happened when I put the plate on, it slid over. That's what I'm going with. That is what I'm saying happened. Let's try it again. All right. And here we go. Let's try it again. There's the fold. All right. Let's cross our fingers. Let's cross our fingers. All right. Because if this doesn't work, I don't know. It worked! Yay! All right. So, what we will do to make this how we originally designed it. Oh, that cracks me up. All right. So what we will do is we will take these pieces that should have been together and we'll just attach them to this. Oh, goodness. See, so mistakes happen. But you know what? It's paper and we'll just move on. All right, so let's just line this up just like that. Because it's going to go just right over the top. And no one will be the wiser. All right, so let's get the other one. Well, actually, you know what? Do we need it? We do. We need it on the inside. So let's attach this here. And we're going to have to do a little bit of trimming. Make sure that's in the fold. Let's go this way. Just like that. And make sure that still folds. I think it might have to go this way. Here we go. I don't know why that's not. Oh, you know why? That's why. Okay. So we're going to have a little bit of some trimming to do. There we go. So now we will take this and just fold that over just like that, and we'll give that a good press. There we go. All right, so we'll trim that. So grab some scissors and we'll just trim on that line. There we go. Perfect. All right, so moving forward after that little mishap. Okay, so now what we need to do is stamp our sentiment. All right, so we are going to use, we are meant to be, that's not it, I believe this one is it. All right. There we go. We'll grab our block. I can't believe that happened. Okay, find our larger block. Here we go. And we'll get our black ink out. And we'll stamp. All right, so let's juice this up. And there we go. We are meant to be. Super cute. Over there, move that back. Now let's attach this, and then you'll see how things start going together. So we're just going to attach this flat. I am just dropping stuff all over the place here. Okay, so we're just going to center this. There we go. Now we need to put our piece on the inside. And hopefully we can get that to match up. Yep, perfect. So this is where you're going to write your sentiment, or your little message. All right. There we go. Now let's attach this to our card base. So we're going to do this flat. Flip that over. All right, so it's going to fit in here just like that. Let's put this in the center-ish. There we go. So it opens just like this. And now we need to finish decorating it. Let's press this down just a bit more. And we'll press that down. There we go. So it lays nice and flat. All right, so let's stamp some bees. So we need to grab our bee. We're going to be using 2 different bees, bee sizes. That. And we're going to need the black, but we need to do the bases first. So we have our little ovals, both sizes. And I'm using the Daffodil Delight and a block. All right, let's get this all nice and juiced up. So there's one bee body. I'm just going to leave this on the black because I do need it for the other card. And let's do this one. Make sure that's colored or covered well. There we go. All right, now we need to do the bee bottoms and the stripes. Let's make sure we're good and covered. We'll just line this up. Ooh, that rocked a little bit, hopefully. Oh, worked just fine. All right, and we'll do the larger one. And we need him to go right about here. Now, if when you do this, you find that maybe it didn't quite cover like you had hoped, because it is black, what you can do is just take one of the Stampin' Write markers. You have 2 different kinds of ends, and you can just color in, and it is in the basic black, so it blends beautifully. All right, so we have that. Now we need to cut these out. You know what, I think I'm just going to use regular scissors just to do this. I'm just going to trim because we need the scrap paper because we have some other things to stamp. I'm just going to trim. So I did check, and we just have a few of the kits left for this craft along. So I don't think they are going to last until the deadline. So if you are thinking about it on getting this kit, don't wait, because they will not last long. I think I have about 3 left. So it is a limited because some of the ribbon is not available anymore. So that's why it's limited. Okay, almost there. Now there are dies that you could use, but you saw how my die cutting ability was earlier. All right, so now we need to stamp our little faces. So they need little faces. So we'll do little happy faces. So here's this teeny tiny little stamp. And I thought I had, oh, here we go. All right, let's get their faces on there. Juice that up. Now you don't want to press hard on the faces, because if you do, it will look like you have bees with little black eyes. As in, not the color black, as in I got beat up kind of black eye. You don't want that for your little bee. Okay, so I think that is all we need for that. Now we do need to stamp our little wings. So we need the larger wing and we need the smaller wing. We'll do that with this. And we're going to use our pool party. Use this smaller piece here. And then I believe we should use the dies for this. Hopefully it works. I can't believe that. Good gravy. All right, so let's juice up this one. Awesome. Okay, I'll put that back. Close this so I don't wear it. All right, so now let's grab our dies. So in the dies that you get in the bundle, you do get, again, all these little frames. And then here we have the large wings and the small wings, smaller wings. All right, let's hope that it doesn't move on me. So what I normally do, and I don't have them with me, is I will take this, I will line it up as best I can, and then I'll stick a little Post-it note on it to help hold it so it doesn't slide around. I probably should have done that when we were cutting out the original frame. Okay, where is the other piece? Oh, I am just oh, here we go. Why it's down there, I have no idea. All right, let's get this to go through. All right, that worked fantastic. Let's do that for the larger one. And we'll just line that up. These are pretty simple to line up. The trick is to keep it from not moving. So we have that. Awesome. Let's move that. So let's put our bee together. So we are going to use some adhesive. So I've seen recently on some of the crafting pages that some ladies are having some trouble with their Stamp and Seal. So my tip to you is you want to make sure that the end of this is sticky. Okay, if it's not, just take your finger and roll it up so that you start with some tack and you press down gently, and when you get to where you want to stop, you just kick it to the side. Okay, so that will keep it sticky for the next round. All right, so I'll show you when we get to a larger piece of paper. It'll make a little more sense. All right, so let's put these little wings on. There's that one. Because some ladies were saying that they had trouble with it and it was creating a big loop. And so if you just follow the simple, when you get to where you want to stop, just kick it out. Okay. So move this out of the way. Let's add our bees. Now we want to grab some dimensionals. All right, so this one I think we're going to put about there. So we want to make sure the dimensional does not stick to our piece that we don't want. Okay, so we'll just peel that off. And we'll put him right about there. And then this one we want up top. So I'll put this at the belly. All right, so I'll close that, line that up. There we go. So we are meant to be. This is what we have so far. Now, normally this should have all been the petunia pot, but because we had that little snafu, we had to make some adjustments. All right, so let's grab our embellishments. So with the kit that you get to make 2 of each of the projects, and you get a full embellishment and you get a full spool of ribbon. And just add some of these on here. Grab a larger one and we'll put that right up here. All right, being difficult. Get it on there. There we go. All right, so here is our first project for today. I love how it opens up. You can write your little message in here. All right, so here's the sample that I did with the petunia pop, how it was supposed to go. So see how the petunia pot, it stayed together, unlike my first attempt. All right, so there's that. All right, so let's do our scrapbook page. So I promised you a scrapbook page. So we're going to be doing a small 6x6 page. And I hope you like it. I just need to pull my little bits here without them falling. All right, so we cut out some of the frames using the die set. And I had already die cut out some hearts and some little flowers. Come on. So we did 3 of each. So here's the frame. And then in here, there's also the hearts and the little flowers. So I did that ahead of time. Now, what we're going to do is, here's the sample page. So because I want a 2-page layout, we're going to mirror this page. Okay, so we have our first piece. Now I'm not going to stamp anything on here because here is where you could do your journaling. All right, we're going to lay this out. Here's some of the frames. Here's this one. And then here's this one. Now what you would do is you would have your pictures. You can use the dies over there to die cut out your photo, and you would just put them in here. All right, so let's put this together. So this is going to lay flat. You don't want to pop it up because then you won't be able to journal on it. It would be kind of wonky unless you journal on it first and then lay it down. All right, so we're going to grab some glue carefully. There we go. Now you could use this glue or you could use the fine tipped glue. I did find using the fine tipped glue, yes, you had more control over where your glue went. However, it took a little longer to dry. So I liked doing it this way because it just took a couple seconds for it to dry. So we're just going to put that right up against that and push that down. Now you can wait to put these pieces on. You could actually put them right on your photo. Alright. Get some adhesive here. I just heard some weird stuff next to me. I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, we still have a ton of rain happening here. All right, so we're just gonna push these together. See, and with the liquid glue, you still have some time to shimmy them around. All right, so we have that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some stamping. So, without hurting myself, we're gonna try and get some of this done here. So I need this little stamp here. So this is this right here. We're just going to mirror it. So I'll grab that. We'll take this little piece off. Juice that up. Make sure we have good coverage. And see, we want our bee to be roughly about here, so I'll just, right there. It is going to hang off a little bit, but that's okay. There we go. Love it. All right, so now we need to stamp our bees. We're going to use the same size bee. We're going to use the larger one. So let's move this out of the way and get our Daffodil Delight. And we need our scrap paper, which I should have here somewhere. We need 3 bees. And we want to leave enough room in between them because we are going to punch them out. And one more. All right. All right, so we got that. Next, we will use the black for the rest of the bee body. And we just need the larger one. So we already have that on the block. So we want to mirror, and you could do this however you want. So we have 2 bees that are facing this way. So now we're going to want 2 bees that face this way. So we'll just line that up. Just like that. I think this might be off a little bit, but that's okay because remember I mentioned the whole marker thing. Part of that, there we go. I'll just drag this down. And no one is the wiser. Plus we're going to be punching this out. So no one is going to notice. All right. So now we need to do the second bee that will face this direction. There we go. I don't know what's on there. All right. Clean that up. There we go. Pull that down. Normally I would be like having my head all up over the stamp, but I'm sure you don't want to see my head. All right, so now we want the bee. So we have the one bee that's facing this way. Now we want them to face that way. I'll juice this up and put them this way. There we go. I don't know what is on there. Okay, so let's close this yellow up. I don't need any more Daffodil Delight. Let's punch out our little bodies. So we are going to have to trim some of this so it fits in nicely. And make that a little smaller. Okay, so let's get this in here. Again, I do it upside down. You want to try and line it up as best as you can. I gotta trim the bottom of this a little more. It was getting hung up. All right, so here we go. And there we go. So here is bee number 1. Let's do bee number 2. I know I need to trim this. Lined up. And punch. Woo! Whole bunch of pieces went shooting up on that one. All right, and one more. Okay, this one's going to be tricky. I didn't leave enough on the sides. There we go. I have a whole bunch of bits and pieces all over. Okay, so we missed out on some of the tail or the stinger part, so we'll just color that in. And this guy here needs a little more. Apparently I must have something on my stamp. I have to make sure I clean that off. Okay, so now we have that. Now they are going to need some of their wings. So we need to get the wings. And we'll grab our pool party. And we need 3 wings. There's 1. And here's 2. And let's see here. Will one fit on here? Absolutely. Always use your scrap. No need to recut from a fresh sheet of paper. Okay. Now we will die cut these out. This is something I could have done ahead of time, but that's all right. We still have to stamp our little faces. So let's get these die cut out. And we need that die. Where's our die? That's the big one. That's the one we want. All right, so we'll just line this up over here. You've seen me do it earlier, so just run that through. There we go. Here's one. And I'm going to show you something pretty cool to do with them. It's just going to make the little bees really, really happy. Okay. And just one more to go. One more little set of wings. Okay. I don't need the scrap. We'll put our wing die back before we lose it. Don't need, oh yeah, we do need the ink. We need to stamp their little faces. So let's do that first. All right, so we need two that go this direction and one that goes that direction. Now here's our little face. So we'll do a happy face. Remember, don't push down super hard. Otherwise, get the black eye. All right, so we're going to swap out our face. I'm going to do some that look like they just have such a big smile that it makes their eyes close. There's that one. And we'll do that one. There we go. And just some happy little bees. All right, so let's move some of this stuff out the way. All right, so we are going to grab our Wink of Stella. I'm going to grab my mat because I don't want it all over my desk. And we are going to color over the wings. Now, you don't want to squeeze too hard because the Wink of Stella will go into this chamber and then it goes out onto the brush. If you squeeze too hard, it can explode, but that's because you're squeezing really hard. Don't ask me how I know that. Just don't squeeze it really hard. All right. And then we'll just set this off to the side so it can kind of dry. Just move that up here. And we'll close this. Now, let's attach our bees, and we want to attach them with dimensionals because we want them flying around. So let's flip them over, grab some dimensionals. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't stamp the little antennas. So we need to do that. Just real quick. One, 2, and 3. All right. So this, I believe I can just line up in here. Maybe. You know what? I'm going to separate them so that I can not have to worry about it cutting up everything else. All right, so let's get them in there. Come on, line up. Work with me here. There we go. Now, don't move. So the little hearts, oh, nope, 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 nope. The little hearts will cut out the little antennas. Oh, so there's that one. Okay, let's get the other ones. So this is easier to just lay it out on the table. Make sure we got it lined up. So there is a die for them. Probably would have been easier to do just that. All right. There we go. There's the second one. And let's get the third one. Probably would have been easier to use the dies. All right. And there we go. Okay, so let's glue these on. Just going to grab a little dot of glue just on the back of our, or the top part of our antenna. Just a little dot. A little will go a long way. That right there. All right, we'll let that dry for a second while we do the other ones. A little bit. Come on, stay with me here. There we go. And one more to go. Don't need that much. There we go. Now we need to attach our wings. So for those of you that don't care to do the seal, you can also use your liquid glue. A little goes a long way. There we go. So now, where did those wings go? Here they are. We're just going to grab one of our wings that had the Wink or that has the Wink of Stella. Just going to put that right there. Hold it for a couple seconds. I'll just lay it upside down for a moment so it can dry. We'll press that down a little bit then. So now this one will go right about here. There we go. And do the third one. Oh, all covered in glue. All right, and let's get him put together right there. There we go. Oh, it's trying to fly away. All right, so just gonna press these down just a bit. Don't want to use my fingers because my fingers have glue on them and it will pull everything apart. There we go. All right, so let's place our bees. Okay, see, all full glue. So then this one, because we want to mirror, so this one we can put right about here. And now you can hold off on putting your bees until you put your photos in. Actually, I would suggest doing that because otherwise you're going to have a heck of a time trying to slide them in. There, and our last bee. And let's put right about there. All right, so now, almost finished. We have our flowers and we have our hearts. Okay, so what we're going to do is grab our glue. Each little bee is going to get a heart to hold. So we'll just put a dot of glue there. in right there. All right, so let's put our hearts on. And that's what's nice about the liquid glue. You have a couple seconds there to try and move it around where you would like it. There's that one. And then one more. All right, we're going to let that dry for just a moment. But now what we're going to do, excuse me, is put some glue for our flowers. So we'll do one here, one there. Let's just put that on there. There's one and two. And we need one more. We'll put that right here. There we go. Now we will grab our Wink of Stella and we're just going to brush lightly over our hearts. So it gives it that little shimmer. I love this stuff. Okay, so let's finish that. We got one more. And now you could, if you wanted to, if you wanted more sparkle, like we already added some to the wings, you can go back and add a little more to make it extra shimmery. And what the Wink of Stella does, it also pulls the color from your ink. So you stamped the pool party, it's also pulling some of that pool party into the white space. All right, so here is our layout. Oh, and look at how those lines line up. Isn't that awesome? It's like I planned it. All right, so here is our scrapbook layout. All right, so we have one more project for today. We're going to make a really simple card. All right, let me grab all my little pieces. All right, so we have our card base. Let's start with that. And we'll just fold this in half. Yeah, these bees are just so stinking adorable. I absolutely love them. Okay, so our card, this one is going to open this way. Here's our sentiment. Let's stamp that while it's here. I just need my stamps. Where are my stamps? Here they are. So we're going to use that big long stamp that we used yesterday, but we're going to use the entire stamp this time. We're not going to just use one portion of it. All right. So let's juice this up. Make sure we got good coverage. And just set this right in the center. You don't want to rock it. You just want to make sure you get a good even push. There we go. All right, so I'll put this aside. And let's see, what other stamping do we need to do? We need some more bees. Now, I had already stamped out these two flowers and die cut them. So we need 2 bees. And we're not going to do yellow bees this time. We're going to do some bubble bath bees. Why not? I'm going to mix it up a little bit. We are using our large bee. And where's my large bee? Oh, actually, we're going to use one of each again. All right, so here we'll do this one first. And where's the, there's that. Okay, so we'll go right here. right, we have that. Now we'll grab the large body. And we'll put his little stripies on. There we go. And we need to give him a face. Let's give him a face right away. That's his antennas. I don't need those this time. We'll just do the little happy faces. Okay, so this is pool party, or the bubble bath. We need black. And a little face. I think his face will go this way. All right, so that one is done. We'll just have to punch him out. Not literally, but you know what I mean. All right, so let's kind of cut him out so we can put him through the punch. That way we know he is finished. And then we'll go on to the next one. Oh, extra pieces. We'll just line it up. There we go. So we have a little bit missing on his tail, so we'll just, our stinger, we'll grab that black marker and fill that in. All right, and then put this aside when we do the, actually, you know what? I can just stamp him right on here. We'll do the little one on here. There we go. Now we need the wings and the little bee body. So he's going to face that way, and this one we'll have facing the other way. Oop. There we go. Okay, so that didn't cover the greatest. So let me grab that marker real quick. We'll use the brush end. I got something sticking to it. Stick it to the stamp. There we go. We'll just cut him out. Yes, there is a die for it, but let's just do this. Sometimes it's just quicker to do this. So turn your paper. You get a more you don't get as a choppy look. Let's turn that. There we go. That can move. And I think I'm done with this. So let's finish up his little bee face. Okay, so that one is done. Now we need to do the little wings. And let's see, I don't need the black anymore, so let's cover this up. And we will use the Petunia Pop for the wings. We can do something a little crazy, something a little different. All right, so we need a large wing. And then we need a smaller wing. And let's stamp that. Got a little bit there on my block. That's all right. Okay, so we'll let that dry before we add our Wink of Stella. We'll just trim this, and then we can die cut them, and then they should be dry enough to where we can do our Wink of Stella. So let's grab our little machine here and grab our dies. Where did I put them? All right, so we need the small and we need the large. I think we're going to do them one at a time because I don't have my sticky notes. So I don't want it to shift on me. We'll just line up the one. Now, when you put this in, you want to put it in like right here at the base and then just lay it down. You don't want to slide it because then it's going to move your die. There we go. And there's that one. Let's grab, excuse me, the smaller one. Is this the smaller one? Yep. All right, sorry about that. I got something to drink. It's a little dry in here. I had to get the fireplace going. It was so chilly today. Okay, so now we have that. Let's grab our Wink of Stella and color these up. Excuse me. There we go. Put our adhesive on the back so we can put our wings. Yep. There we go. There's the first one. And there's the second one. I got Wink of Stella on my desk. All right, and I am finished with that. All right, so let's put the rest of the card together. So all the stamping is done. So we have these layers. So we have that, and we want to attach those together. Okay, so what I was telling you earlier is you want to make sure that your adhesive is at the tip. Put it where you want to start. Just go straight. And where you want to end it, just kick it out. And then it's set to go for the next one. And when you're kicking it out, you want to alternate which way you're kicking it out. Okay, so let's see here. So this will go on here. Just like that. And then we will grab our designer paper. I love these little jars. So we're going to do the same thing. All right, and let's grab our ribbon. You are going to get a full spool of the ribbon in your kit. So for those of you that already have your kits, you already know that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to tie a knot. We are going to tie a double knot. So we're going to pull it a little tight again, just like we did on yesterday's card. And then tie our second knot and tie it tight, 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 shoop, just like that. And we're going to trim. You want to make sure you have sharp scissors. Try and keep a designated pair just for ribbon. Let's straighten this out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now let's attach this to our card base, and we're going to grab some dimensionals wherever I have put them. There they are. I'm going to have a mess to clean up here today. All right, we're going to put one in the center. It'll help hold that ribbon in place. Keep it from shifting around. All right, then we will put this right here in the middle. There we go. Now we need some dimensionals on the back of our bees. And again, you could use 2, you could use however many you would like. I think the bigger one I'll use 2. So I want to make sure those wings stay attached. And here's our sentiment. So we're going to do our sentiment first, okay? And I'm actually going to use smaller dimensionals because I want it to go onto the paper, not so much onto the ribbon. So we're just going to grab some of these and put them at the top. We're just going to stagger them just like that. So I want the ribbon to fit like right in between-ish. All right, do one here. I want to make sure it adheres to the paper. When it adheres to the paper, you're going to get a better hold on your label. So if it was just adhering to the ribbon, it could have the potential to come off. All right, so let's put that like in the center. All right, so now you have it attached. I don't know if you can see it, but it's attached to the paper. And I'm sure there's a portion of it that's attached to the ribbon, but. All right, so we're going to take our bees and just put them on our card. And now we have these cute little flowers. And let's add those. And I believe there's different sizes. No, just the one size flower, but you could always trim it down if you wanted it smaller. So let's put that here. Grab our other one, we'll put the opposite end. Like that, and let's get some of our embellishments. And in your kit you will get a full pack of the embellishments. Let's grab the bigger one, put that right in the center. So yeah, I had stamped, but you can always, I mean, you could choose not to, but I just think it looks a little better. There we go. In case you don't line it up all the way. There's that. And let's grab a little one and put it right on the end there. All right. So this is project number 3 for today. So let's pull out our projects that we did. So we did our scrapbook pages. So we have that. It's just mirrored. And then we'll pull this one out. And then we have this one, which was the fun fold. And then we have this. Now I would go ahead and put a piece of white in here so you have that. So all right, so this was our projects for today. I hope you enjoyed them. I'll be back here tomorrow at 12 o'clock where we have our last 2 projects. Now remember, you can get this kit for yourself. You're going to get to make 2 of every project. So all the information and sign up info is in the link in this video, so be sure to check that out. Otherwise, I will see you all back here tomorrow. And thank you so much for joining me, and God bless.